3.8 seconds. That's all the time it took to punch Canada's ticket to the World Championships in wheelchair rugby. The man who sealed their fate is on the show. You won't want to miss it. Let's get started.
Welcome to Parasport Nation with Alex Smythe and Nathan Clement.
Welcome into PSN. I'm your host, Alex Smythe, as always, joined by co-host Nathan Clement. Nathan, we got a great show today. I'm so excited to chat with Matt Debly, but you have a very interesting story that came across your desk today. It's all about sports of a different type of arena.
Yes, so if it's on the internet, it has to be true. So there's the Arena Football League team up for sale right now in one of the many arena football leagues as we've come to learn, the Amarillo Venom. And it's got me thinking mostly in a minor league, but also an arena sports kind of level of if Vancouver was to get an Arena Football League team or a team of any variety, what would the team name be? I know with Hamilton, you have many different nicknames for your city. For Vancouver, I always think like the 604. I know Toronto has the 905, but I think the 604 Cobra Chickens, in honor of the geese that roam around the city, could be a great team name. But Alex, if you were to own a minor league sports team or get an Arena Football League team, what would you want to call it?
Oh man, this is such a tough one because like Cobra Chickens, it's just so great. It's obviously, Hamilton is Steel Town, like that is kind of what we're known for, and so it's it's so tough. Like, do we go with like, I don't know, like I don't want to rip off an existing team like the Steelers. Like, so you want it to be a bit unique, a bit different, but like the Hamilton Hard Hats, like would something like that work? You still kind of evoke a bit of that, like, blue collar-esque. You could be a bit tougher. Maybe the helmets are yellow and they have like the stripes to resemble hard hats. I don't know. If we want to go with a football terminology, I think this would be a great one. Hamilton Road Graders. You always talk about you want linemen in the sport to be real road graders, tough, gritty guys. The Hamilton Road Graders, we will push you around, we'll score points, there won't be anything you can do about it. Come face us in Hamilton and Arena Football. I'm good with that one. What do you think, Nathan?
That would be a great team name, and you could even pull off a little bit of like an asphalty helmet with like the lines coming in there, kind of like the Pittsburgh Steelers, little reminiscent of Steel City there, but really have that grit and kind of rougher team name or team look. That could be a really cool thing, but an even better name, Nathan, for a Canadian version of football. Have we ever considered the name the Rough Riders? Football in Canada, we could have Rough Riders football. I don't think I've ever heard that anywhere before. I haven't heard it either, but I do have a question for you. What sounds better, the Rough Riders or Rough Riders? Because you could go either way with it, but hopefully there's no copyright infringement there. But I think the Vancouver Rough Riders could be really good, even if we got it into, say, a league that has a team called the Rough Riders already in it. I think that would be great for the CFL. Hamilton
even better. We could each be the Rough Riders.
Let's go.
One could be with the space, without the space. Oh my goodness. And this is the ridiculousness of Canadian football, that we literally had two teams named the Rough Riders. And needless to say, we need to get away from all the CFL ridiculousness of having two teams with the name Rough Riders at the same time. But I want to talk about other great sports. Obviously, we love our football, but wheelchair rugby is also phenomenal, and we are so privileged to have Matt Debly, part of the wheelchair rugby national team, on the program. You heard it off the top. He is the man responsible for punching Canada's ticket to the World Championships next year. Let's welcome him on to the show. Matt, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's dive right into it. You first started playing wheelchair rugby after competing in wheelchair basketball at the 2015 Canada Games. What drew you to the rugby side of things and away from wheelchair basketball?
I played with Team Ontario at Canada Games in Prince George, BC. And it was actually somebody had seen me play basketball there and thought I'd be a good fit for rugby. So I got connected with a local team in London, Ontario. Went out and tried it, and it's full contact. It's one of the only parasports that allows full chair contact, and it's such a fast paced and loud and wonderful sport that I was kind of hooked right away.
Matt, thank you so much for joining us. Let's go back to the Canada Games. The show Parasport Nation is going to be going to the Canada Games in Newfoundland coming up this summer. What was the experience like being an emerging athlete, or for upcoming emerging athletes? What's it like going to a Canada Games?
Oh, it was so cool. I mean, having been to Canada Games as well as now a Pan Am Games as well as the Paralympics, there's actually quite a bit of similarities. Multi-sport event, all the teams sort of together in a village style setting. And it's just very exciting. The atmosphere is one of a kind. Everybody really gets into it. There's lots of cheering. A lot of other sports and athletes come to cheer on their provinces. So, we met a lot of very cool people. The women's ringette team was at a lot of our games, and we were all kind of supporting each other. We got to go to a bunch of their games as well. It's very cool. It's very exciting.
No, that's so great to hear, and yeah, we're so excited to be on the ground there and see the next generation of potential Paralympic athletes coming through. Maybe it's a next Matt Debly rising up through the ranks that we're going to be able to spot early on. But for yourself and the wheelchair rugby team, you guys recently placed third at the America's Championship. Take us through that competition. Like, how are you feeling as you look back at that competition?
Oh yeah, I mean that one's a special win for me. We brought a team a little bit short. Usually we have 12 players. We had 8. There were some issues with the other 4 athletes that they weren't able to join us. So we were kind of scrambling when we got there to try and kind of get what we had working. And I really do believe that you saw us through every game getting better and better and kind of more of a cohesive unit. We went into the bronze medal game. It was a qualification game for us. We had to win. And, we had one of our worst starts of the tournament, which is unfortunate, but, I think we only led that game for about 4 seconds, and it was obviously the last 4 seconds, which is great. I mean, to be a part of that, like a come from behind win in such an important way with the group of guys that we had, it's super, super cool. And it's kind of surreal to be a part of that.
Your humbleness is showing. You scored the winning try, a near buzzer beater with about under 4 seconds, as you said. What was that play like, and how did it feel crossing the line and getting that try?
I mean, it was so cool. It's a similar kind of moment that most athletes kind of dream of having. We were never out of that game. Is kind of the mentality we all had going into that, and I trusted my teams. We made some great defensive plays. My teammate Cody, he made the pass to me to score last second, and then it's just quickly, just don't let them score. And it really was about as much of a team victory as there can be in our sport. I mean, all 8 of us worked so hard throughout that whole game to get it to all come together at the end.
What did you guys learn about each other being an undermanned team going into this major competition and then coming away with a much needed victory to, as you say, secure that spot in the World Championships? Like, what did you learn about yourself and the other members of your team?
Yeah, I mean, in a situation like that, it really is just kind of effort, heart, and wanting it more than who you're going to get up against. The Colombian team, they're a very, very good team. They've been playing together for a long time. And we just didn't quit. We fought. My teammate Rio actually had a broken finger the entire game. He played through that, played the whole game every minute. And there's not a better group of guys that I'd want to go into a game like that with. And not that I just learned that, but it kind of solidifies it that, no matter what adversity is kind of thrown at us, we can come together and we can win big games and we can play against the best.
I want to go back for a second. Just under a year ago was the Paris Paralympic Games, and you were selected for your first team there. What was that experience like, being in Paris and having that experience with such veteran squad, but also you being one of the 3 debutants taking part in the games?
Oh yeah, it was so cool. I mean, it's always an honor to put that jersey on, but to be able to wear the maple leaf on the largest stage, I mean, there's really no words for it. I tried to go in kind of as a blank slate, not really expecting anything, not really prepared for anything, and it was crazy. The stadium, the atmosphere, the village. It was such a crazy experience, and hopefully not the last time I get to experience a Paralympics.
I'm sure. Was there anything in particular that was like especially like, jaw-dropping or just like unexpected that you didn't fully anticipate until you were actually there on the ground?
It'd have to be the crowd. I mean, the way we lined up to enter the gym, we were sort of under the stadium seating, and so you could hear that it was loud. You could feel the vibration of the people moving around, but as soon as you went through the opening and into the gym, it was deafening. It was very, very cool that everybody's there. It didn't matter what team you played for; everybody was cheering for you when you entered the court, and that was awesome.
I remember Zach telling me in the village at the Paralympics last year was just how crazy the crowd was, especially when you all had to play France during the round robin, or was it the knockout round?
I believe we played France. That was our final game of the tournament for 5th, 6th. And it was so loud. It was deafening. Obviously, the crowd was quite in favor of the home team, and it was very cool. I haven't had an opportunity to play in front of a crowd that size before, so just to be in the gym at that point and in that environment, it was so loud. I mean, I've been to like NHL games that weren't as loud as that, so it was so cool. And
for yourself, like, there's been a lot of change in the recent months when it comes to the national program. New coach, you have some of the veterans retiring. We just had Zach Madell on recently after he announced his retirement. What's the kind of vibe like in the national program now in this kind of time of change, new opportunity? It's an evolution taking place for this quadrennial. Like, how are you feeling? How's the rest of the team feeling?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, going in, there was a bit of uncertainty on kind of what we would look like, how we would play, kind of what it would feel like, but it really doesn't feel any different. I mean, we have a lot of hungry young athletes that are getting an opportunity to kind of show us and the world what they're capable of, so that's always exciting. It's the new coach, Trevor. We were teammates for a few years, and no man's better equipped for the job, I think, than Trevor. So that's not a worry at all. From the athletes, he's going to take us in the direction we need to go, and we got a lot of people that are just hungry to play and prove that we can still do it. We want to put Canada back on the podium in LA 2028. That's our goal, and we've got a great group to do it.
That's really amazing. And with that 3rd place finish at the Americas Championships, that qualified you for World Championships next year. Do you have any personal or team goals that you've set? You did mention podium in LA, but is there any short-term goals that you and the team have leading into that World Championships?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's to get better every time we're on the court. It doesn't matter who we're playing. It doesn't matter where we're playing or kind of what placement we're playing for. If we can improve every single time that we get on the floor, then our goals will be met eventually, right? Like whether it's short term, long term. I think going into Worlds, we're going to put the world on notice. I think some countries are maybe underestimating us for what we have or lack of experience, or maybe we're going through a rebuild and they might be underestimating us. But I think going into Worlds, we're going to put the world on notice that. Not only are we ready to go now, but we're certainly going to be ready in LA.
How would you describe your game and how it's evolved from those early games on the national team stage to where you are now in your career?
Oh, for me, I mean, I was a very timid player, very quiet, not much of a a presence, whether physically or, anything like that. And I think I've sort of developed into more of a loud, sort of energy based guy, whether I'm on the bench or on the floor. I like to get as amped up as I can. I like to get my teammates involved. I like to get the crowd involved. And, there's a special feeling going into a game and being able to silence a crowd. And I live for those moments. And I'm an energy guy. I work as hard as I can on and off the bench, and I want to be loud.
Now you've been on the national team for multiple years now, but starting out or even now as a player, was there any athletes, whether on the Canadian team or other countries abroad, that you try to style your game after, or took a lot of inspirations from how they played or how they got around on the court?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the biggest kind of influences in my game was Garrett Hickling. He is a legend in the sport and, multiple Worlds MVP, arguably the best player to ever play the game. And, I was very fortunate to be able to start my journey on the same team as him, getting coaching from him. I actually played, his old chair was my first chair. And we were very similar as far as function goes. And, it's one of those goals that I have to sort of emulate his calm presence when he's around. He never panics. He could pass the ball anywhere on the floor, and he was feared out there. Nobody wanted to play against him. He was the best there is, and it sort of fuels me to be able to say that I got to learn from him, and I want to do him proud, and hopefully I can take Canada to a medal finish just like he did.
Well, I think that's a perfect segue to my next question. Who would you put on wheelchair rugby's Mount Rushmore?
That's a tough question. Obviously, I'm very biased. I think Canada's had a lot of the best athletes to ever play the game. Garrett Hickling's definitely going up there. Hands down, number one spot for me. I would put somebody along the lines of Riley Batt from Australia. I think he's an exceptional player. He's done a lot for the sport, and I'd have to put him up there as well. Good friend of mine, Zach. I think Zach's going up there. Zach, since he came onto the scene, I think his first Paralympics was like 16 or something like that, and he's been dominating ever since. He's had a hell of a career, and he's definitely got to be up there. And that fourth spot, a lot of debate can go into that. I would probably have to put Dave Wilsey up there. He may not have been the most dominant player as a mid-pointer, but probably one of the smartest rugby minds that I've ever had the privilege to play with. And he really, nobody gets as much out of his teammates and his players as Dave does. So I definitely put him up there because he certainly makes his teammates better, and Canada was certainly better having him on the team.
That's an amazing list of athletes. And one of the great privileges of Paralympic sport and parasport is we get to travel often. One of our favorite questions on the show is, what is your favorite food destination that you've been to that's personal to you? Could be any city, any country, but a favorite food destination through sport that you've been able to go to.
Oh, that's a great question. I would have to say probably our trips to Paris have been very good. When we went in 2023 in October, we had wonderful food. Obviously, the food at the Paralympics was very vast. Lots of different choices. It was so good. But yeah, I can't remember even a mediocre meal anywhere near Paris. It's always been great. But I mean, we've been very blessed. Denmark and Australia and all kinds of other places have had such remarkable food, and we've been very lucky that it's a lot of the countries and places that host are doing a fantastic job.
And then lastly for you, Matt, we talked about the food, we talked about the players. Well, what about the environment, the arena, the kind of the location? Like, where is your favorite place to compete, or where was your favorite arena or venue to compete in?
Yeah, again, biased. Paris being my first Paralympics, never performed on a stage like that before, so it's very hard to top. But honestly, any large crowd, I mean, Worlds in 2022 in Denmark, they packed the house. They were loud. They were fun. And that seems to be the trend with wheelchair rugby events. It's a fast-paced sport. You know, the hits sound like a car wreck inside. People love the action, the intensity, and it's always loud and it's always a party. So, any international tournament that you get to have a crowd like that is incredible.
Matt, this is awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
And that was our conversation with Matt Debly from Wheelchair Rugby. Nathan, lots of directions we can go, but the thing that really stands out to me with that conversation with Matt, his reverence and respect for just the legacy that the veterans that he's had a chance to play with, be around, learn from, and how they've really shaped the game, and how he's kind of starting to take his own path to have the impact on his team, on the game. You talk about how, when he first started, he was kind of a shy player, but now he's the one pumping up people on that bench. He's trying to get the crowd going. And that just goes to show what the experience and leadership that he has and he's brought forth.
100%. And one thing you and I really took away was that beautiful connection between him and Garrett Hickling, him using Garrett Hickling's chair as that was his first chair he had in wheelchair rugby, and really that very poignant, deep answer talking about how he wants to mold himself, how he wants to honor the career of Garrett when he plays, when he takes control of the field and gets out there. As he said there, he was shy, he was timid at the start, but now he's loud, now he's boisterous, now he really has become a general that can keep that calm, keep that composure, and just everything that he's doing. He's one of those pieces that's showing that Canada's wheelchair rugby team's in great hands, that new guard's really going to be taking over and hopefully leading to great things. And it's very far out, but you and I love our predictions. I love how bold he was and how confident he was getting Canada back to the Paralympic podium in LA 2028. Still a long time to do it, but that kind of resolve and that kind of oomph behind when he said it gets me excited and gets me bold enough to want to throw out early predictions.
Yeah, I also want to go back to the beginning of the interview with him, because he talked about how, he was, I was playing wheelchair basketball, and then someone approached me, hey, you would be good for rugby. I think they just won him out of wheelchair basketball because he was probably roughing up the other players too much. It's like, if anyone looks at you, it's like, you know what, you would make a really good wheelchair rugby player. You may want to check how much you're creating contact with the players around you. But clearly it's been to Canada's benefit that he has taken this path to come into the fold for wheelchair rugby. I think he has a bright future. I think the team has a bright future. I mean, they literally came away with a stunning victory with an undermanned squad at the America's Championship. Like, that is huge. That cannot be stated enough, just how difficult that is. But I'm excited to see where things go. We're definitely going to be catching up with him down the road for sure.
100%, and that just shows those kinds of strong programs and those strong teams is when you're undermanned, when you only have 8 players like they did down in Brazil. It just shows kind of that resolve and that kind of fight that they have, but it also goes to the coaching staff too, and Trevor Hirschfield taking over now. Like, you really have to get the players going when you're in a situation, you're in a position like that. But that's just huge kudos to that roster and that team. And even going back to the start of the interview, there's one thing he mentioned at the start that I really want to bring up, is how similar, but also how important those pathways are from Canada Games to Pan Ams to even Paralympic Games, and just the similarities and just the experiences that athletes get at events like that. I never had the privilege or honor of going to a Canada Games. I did have the honor of going to a Western Canada Games, and just having those experiences is so huge for an athlete development. And hopefully we're going to find more Matt Deblys in situations like that, but it just creates so many opportunities, and it helps athletes like Matt or so many others get that experience, get that confidence, and really allows them to grow. So one day they could even get to a Paralympic Games, or even in your case, Alex, try to figure out what Paralympic Games I have up my holster right now for you to guess, and you to figure out what I have cooking for another game that we played previously on a previous episode where I try to guess the Paralympic sport. Now, Alex, I hope you're ready for the hot seat.
Let's get to it. I'm ready for Guess This Parasport.
Guess That Parasport.
All right. First off, it's a team sport played on the court.
Okay, and so you're giving me 3 clues to try to figure this one out. Okay, team sport played on the court. Just because it's in the back of my mind, we recently did this interview, I'm going to say sitting volleyball.
It is not sitting volleyball.
Okay.
But for your second question, the ball travels up and down the field of play.
Like vertically up and down, or like from one end of the court to the other?
From one end of the court to the other.
Okay, well, isn't that almost any court? You know what? We have Matt on the program today, wheelchair rugby.
It is not wheelchair rugby. And now with the Guess This Parasport, each time Alex takes a guess, he gets a point taken off. So the first question is worth 3 points if he gets it. The second question is worth 2 if he gets it. And if he gets it on the third question, he gets 1 point. And if he does not get it at all, that is 0 points. So your final question for the first Guess This Sport, it's played 3-on-3.
Well, I guess I would go wheelchair basketball because there's a new 3-on-3 competition coming our way. So I'm locking in wheelchair basketball.
It is not wheelchair basketball.
Ooh.
It is goal ball.
Okay. Yep. You caught me. Yep. Nothing to indicate anything that the athletes wear. So that could have literally have gone anywhere. So yes, I did not get it. Okay. Second attempt, I can recover. I can regain my confidence, Nathan. Hit me with the next one.
All right. Here is your second question, or your second sport. It is a summer sport.
Oh, really helping out here. Okay, I'm gonna go. Let's say para shot put.
Ooh, good guess, but you are incorrect.
Okay.
I know I kept it very vague with the first one. This one might help you bring down the sport size potentially. For your second question, athletes wear protective equipment.
Oh, thanks. Yes, that really helps. Okay, so I'm thinking goggles of some kind, but it could also be helmets, like they do in cycling or wheelchair racing. I'm going to go parachuting. They wear goggles and parachuting.
It is not parachuting. And now your final question again. This sport in the Paralympics can only happen indoors.
Interesting. Okay, so in the Paralympics, it can only happen indoors, meaning that there are outdoor competitions for this sport, or at least that's what I'm reading into it.
I can give an extra hint if you want.
I will take that extra hint because I got nothing right now.
It was something controversial that you and I have talked about on a previous episode.
Yes, so this is where my mind went immediately with that. I think it is para swimming because we had talked about the arena locations and the swimming pool, protective equipment. Obviously, you have the goggles on. I guess you could classify that as protective, so I'm going para swimming.
You are correct.
Yes!
1 point.
1 point on the board. Okay. Let's do this.
All right, and this is your third and final sport.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm pumped.
It is no longer a Paralympic sport.
Ooh, okay. Parasailing.
No, it is not parasailing. It is a condensed version of an able-bodied sport.
A condensed version of an... so do you mean the rules, the competition, like what is condensed?
The rules, the field size, the player amounts.
I think so I'm gonna say is it 7-a-side soccer is CP soccer?
It is.
Because 5-a-side is blind soccer, so CP soccer.
It is, yes.
Yes. Okay, coming away with 3 points. I will take that. I think I did. You did do better than me. You had one more question answered than I did. So you're currently leading this Guess the Parasport. But Nathan, I'm gonna get my revenge. I'm gonna get more and more precise. I don't care how hard you make it for me, but I'm gonna beat you in the long run. The law of averages will even out. But thank you so much for putting this together, keeping me on my toes. But unfortunately, we're up against the clock. There's no more questions, no more time on today's program. So thank you at home for watching and listening. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Parasport Nation. Like and subscribe to the channel to follow us now.